Rory McIlroy gave us so many thrills and spills on Saturday at the Open Championship that you'd almost forget that Scottie Scheffler has just completely taken control of this and has a 4-shot lead going into the final round. This is the Irish Golfer Podcast Day 3 recap of the Open and what we saw at Portrush, brought to you by Cleveland Shrixon. And sitting here, lying back, very, very comfortably looking on the couch here in the Irish Golfer House is Mark McGowan. Mark, you must be tired after all the walking you did out there today. You were following McIlroy for most of the day. How did you find things?
I'm very tired after all the walking I've done all week. But no, I mean, that was one of the most exciting Saturdays I've ever seen in a golf tournament that is completely over.
Yes. It's mental.
I mean, yeah, it was, as you said, it was the full thrills and spills ride with Rory today. And yeah, he managed to pick up one shot on Scottie.
It's unbelievable. I think we all thought he needed 65, 66 and a prayer, and it could easily have been 63, 64. And even at that, it probably wouldn't have been enough. He would still have been 4 shots behind Scottie. At the moment, he is 6 shots behind in the penultimate group, going into tomorrow on 800 par after a 66. But yeah, like he gave us such a thrilling day, and at the end of it, he only has half a chance at best of winning an Open Championship on home soil. And when you put it into the context of, he'll probably be in his 40s the next time the Open comes to Portrush, so he's more likely to not win an Open on home soil than he is to win one. And yeah, it just seems weird because he was the star of the show today, and yet he's almost an irrelevance going into tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, he came raring out of the blocks. First time he hit the fairway on the first all week. As we talked about earlier in the week, he had played 4 practice rounds, hit it out of bounds twice, didn't hit the fairway, found the left rough in his first round, found the first cut on the left yesterday, so he was getting closer, but split the fairway today, and I mean, hold a fabulous putt. It must have been close to 40 feet on the first green with a big right to left swing in it, and he was up and running. You suddenly thought, I mean, he did the same thing yesterday. I guess he birdied the first, and you kind of thought that he was about to put the foot down. He did put the foot down today. Birdied the first, birdied the second, parred the third, then birdied the fourth, and I mean, at that point, 3 under through 4, par 5, and a short par 4 and a par 5 to come in the next 3 holes. You just think like he's going to make a huge move here, but I mean, as Rory often tends to do, the putts just dried up at that stage. A couple of maybe didn't play his best on those couple of holes as well. But I mean, at that he was still, Scottie had only just kind of started at that stage or played a few holes, but Scottie hadn't got off to a fast start. He just kind of reeled off a load of pars. So you thought Rory can still close this, and if he shoots the lights out in the back 9, he could get really close. Rory had a good round. Scottie had a good round.
Rory did all he could, and it's funny when he didn't birdie the 5th, and the par on 7 was really poor from being in the middle of the fairway. Hit a poor second shot and a really poor chip. Like I wouldn't necessarily say the put's dried up. It's just when you're chasing Scheffler, everything has to go in that situation. And like, it's funny, like Scheffler opens with 6 pars, and you're thinking, okay, McIlroy can get at him here. And all of a sudden, Scheffler goes bang, bang, eagle the 7th, birdie the 8th, and just separates himself from the field once again. And like throughout the afternoon, then nobody could get near him. McIlroy tried his best, to be fair, like lost momentum after those 2 pars on 5 and 7, and we'll get into the bogey on 11, which was just bizarre. But like, you have to, like, this is your first Open, Mark. Rory trickles in this 56-footer for eagle on the 12th, and the roar that goes up was like Ryder Cup-esque or Tiger-esque, whatever way you want to put it. And that was like moments of the day that made it all worthwhile to be there for that moment. He won't win this Open, I don't think, but to have experienced that is something I'm sure you'll take away.
Yeah, I mean that was incredible. 'Cause that's on the 12th there. There's a grandstand there around it. There's another couple of grandstands from other greens around it where people were standing up looking over the back on. I mean the crowds lining the fairways were 4 or 5 deep of that. I mean there was probably a good 10 to 12,000 people were watching that putt, and the reaction. I mean, I was down below the green, so he was putting right down towards, like, so the hole was directly between me and him, and it was a straight putt, but it was just a long one, and the last bit of it was just straight downhill. So you kind of thought, oh, he's underhit this. It's not going to get there, because it seemed as though it was going to stop on that slope, and then it just started to trickle down, and like I was still there. I wasn't sure if it was going to get there or not, and then I just saw like Rory raise the putter when it must have been a foot from the hole. And at that point, then I was like, oh no, he's he knows that this is going in. He knows this isn't losing momentum, and yeah, the place just absolutely erupted. It was incredible, like just make the hairs stand on the back of your neck. But it was at that exact moment that I also, like, after that, I got out my phone to look up the leaderboard, and I just saw, oh no, Scheffler's just eagled 7 as well. So so it was a climax and then an anticlimax.
Yeah, like it was an amazing moment, and like he still, I think he got to 5 shots behind Scheffler at that stage. Like you're nowhere, even though you're after pulling off this remarkable putt. And going back about 20 minutes before that, he hits one of the worst drives you'll ever see. Was just about to hit a provisional, but they found the ball. It's gone so far right, it's carried all of the sort of fern and the fescue grass onto this pretty trampled down area. Grass is quite short because of where the spectators were all week. Looks a grand lie. Like McIlroy's going to hit this at 40 feet left of the green, 2-putt, get out with a par. And then he hits this shot, and from where we were standing just behind him to the left-hand side, we thought he must have miscued this completely, or maybe the lie was a lot worse than we had initially thought. But when you watch the replay, his ball ricochets off a plugged ball that was like so submerged beneath the surface, you couldn't see it initially. Again, it feels like we're talking about Larry now. We're talking about not visible to the naked eye, but this ball just wasn't visible at all. And as he makes contact with the ball, the turf breaks and the two balls just collide with each other, and it completely spins his ball out of the air. Now, look, he has a 30-yard pitch shot up the green, loads of green to work with, leaves it 15, 20 feet short and misses the putt. Like, he probably still should have got it up and down, but like that was just one of the most bizarre breaks you'll ever see. And like, God, you're going to cover a lot of tournaments over the next few years. I don't think you'll ever see anything like that again.
Yeah, I mean, as you rightly said, it was a really poor drive, and it looked as though he'd gotten really fortunate because there was just absolute cabbage to the left of him. There was like a 10-foot strip where the spectators were walking, and then there was more cabbage beyond that. And whenever his ball had come down and landed and stopped in this strip of trampled down grass, you're like, oh, he's got extremely lucky. So it was, I guess you could say, maybe the golfing gods evened themselves out there. We gave you a little bit of fortune, a stroke of good luck on the tee shot. You're going to get a stroke of bad luck now. Yeah, he probably, whenever he was watching his ball sailing way right off the tee, if you offered him a 5 there and then, I'm pretty sure he would have definitely taken it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, considering he was reaching for a provisional, but it was just turned a really good break into, just a shocking break. And on a day where you can't afford to drop any shots, like as we said before, you need every putt to go in, everything to go right. It seemed like he played himself out of the tournament at that stage, and then the eagle goes in on 12. And to be fair, he played the last 7 holes beautifully, like eagle 12. Got it round on 13, 14, birdie on 15 after, another poor tee shot with an iron off the tee. great up and down on Calamity 16. He missed to the right where you just cannot go. Makes a heroic recovery on 17 as well. Like again, like that could have been a lost ball. That could have been out of bounds off the tee as well. And then 18 makes a routine 2-putt par. Like the thing is, like McIlroy, such thrills and spills, but he rides his luck, and then an hour behind him, there's a fella there who's just going about his business, and the most, not boring, but just ruthless excellence where it looks stress-free, and obviously it isn't, but I think that's probably the difference between the two players. Like McIlroy, if he makes a mistake, he's more likely than Scheffler to follow it up with another one, just with how aggressive he is, whereas Scheffler knows how to get the ball back in play. Like, where can I make par from? I think that's separated him. Like, you've some par 3 stats on Scheffler as well. I think he's 6 under for them, and he's 4 ahead now as well.
Yeah, he's six under. So the first day he birdied 2 of the par 3s. Today he birdied 1, but yesterday he birdied 3 of them, and he's actually birdied the 16th every day. Like, the 16th is definitely one of the hardest holes on the golf course. It's not called Calamity Corner for no reason, and he's given himself great birdie looks every single day. And I mean, you're talking somebody hitting, it might have played 200 yards as the shortest distance and 240 as the longest distance, but each time he's just hitting an iron in close and giving himself a birdie putt. And but I mean, one of the most worrying things about Scheffler this week is that he leads the field in strokes gained putting. He's gained almost 8 shots on the field just on the greens alone. Whenever you're like, he's ranked second in strokes gained approach, which is, I mean, that's his bread and butter.
That's standard practice.
Yeah. But when you're hitting it closer than anybody or almost anybody, and then you're putting better than almost anybody, well, you literally are putting better than anybody. I mean, how do you beat that?
Yeah, like Scheffler just needs to put decent, and more often than not, he's going to win the tournament. I think that's what McIlroy was alluding to when he was asked in the mix zone, like, what do you make of Scottie Scheffler? And he's just saying, Scotty, he's, pretty much inevitable at this stage. And yeah, we caught up with Rory after his round, and we were allowed to ask 5 questions today. So one more than what has been the protocol so far this week. So we're going to play it back the audio. And yeah, McIlroy essentially says he's given himself half a chance going into tomorrow, a chance to win his second Open Championship. So here he is.
Rory, amazing atmosphere out there today, which you seem to be really enjoying. How was that?
Yeah, it was incredible. It was so much fun. I got off to the perfect start. 3 under through 4. Felt like that the end of the front 9 there, or at least through 11, the par on 7 felt like a bogey, and then the bogey on 11. But then to play those last 7 holes and 3 under, I thought was a good effort. I played well. I rode my luck at times, but it was an incredible atmosphere out there, and feel like I've at least given myself half a chance tomorrow.
Can you talk us through some of the soap opera events of out there? Not just the fast start, but what happened on 11, and the incredible response with a 56-foot eagle put on 12, and then the birdie on 15, which was a tap in.
Yeah, obviously a great start. Sort of like the dream start, to be able to be 3 under through 4 and have 5 and 7 to play. So to not birdie those was a little disappointing. And then what happened on 11 was just so, my ball came out so strange. Like I thought I was going to get a flyer, and I looked up and my ball, I could see it spinning up against the wind. So just a really weird. I had obviously no idea there was a ball anywhere close to my ball. I mean, I could have done better with the chip shot there anyway, and that was the bogey. It wasn't. It was. I mean, making bogey on 11 is not the end of the world. It's a tough hole. But yeah, the eagle on 12 was one of the coolest moments. It was one of the loudest roars I've ever heard on a golf course. So that was a really cool moment, and to get those shots back straight away was nice, and felt like I played the last few holes really solid, and picked one up coming in, which was good.
What's your plan between now and tee time tomorrow?
Grab some dinner, try to sleep as much as I can. Don't have any rugby to distract me tomorrow morning. Watch New Zealand, France and the Lions game. So I don't know. I'll try to find something to watch. I started Oppenheimer last night. I'll try to get through another hour of it tonight. Maybe finish it tomorrow morning. But yeah, apart from that, just keep my mind off of things. I always do better with distraction. So if I can just distract myself and get my mind on something else, that's always a good plan for me.
Rory, you seem to be.
Yeah, he's playing like Scottie. I don't think it's a surprise. Everyone's seen the way he's played or plays over the last 2 to 3 years, and he's just so solid. He doesn't make mistakes. Even, it looked like he could have made bogey on 14 there. He's turned himself into a really consistent putter as well. So, there doesn't seem to be any weakness there. And whenever you're trying to chase down a guy like that, it's hard to do. But he's incredibly impressive.
Sorry, Rory, you seem to be open-mouthed in amazement after what happened on Leven. Is it one of the strangest things you've ever experienced on a golf course?
Yeah, it's never happened to me before. And it's the only thing, it could never happen on any other course but a links course as well, when the rough's all matted down and balls get, so it was, it was very strange.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've never seen Oppenheimer hands up confession there. I just hope he's not. Hope he keeps himself away from Shane Lowry tonight. Bit of a virus going around in that house.
There is Shane was saying that he says one of his daughters had it 2 days ago. I think his wife had it and his other daughter. Was it 3 daughters he has?
Two. Relax.
So it must be the wife. Well, it won't be long till he has 3. But yeah, it caught up with him today. He wasn't in great shape. He managed. He still hadn't eaten anything or hadn't been able to keep anything down, I think. By the time he got to the first tee and managed to battle hard through the first 9, 10, 11 holes, I think, and then the wheels kind of came off a little bit coming in. So I think he ended up shooting 3 over today. Leaves him on 3 over for the tournament. So yeah, I mean, he did say that if it had been any other tournament, he probably wouldn't have played today. So fair play to him for doing so. I mean, I'm pretty sure if he had have pulled out and people weren't aware of the reason that he was pulling out, everybody would have just thought he'd taken his ball and gone home after getting the 2-shot penalty yesterday. So fair play to him for doing so. Hope that it passes quickly and he's able to go out and play a good round tomorrow, because I mean he deserves to have the reception on 18 and to be welcomed in like the Open champion he is, and to be sent off back down the tunnel like the Open champion that he is. So yeah, but as on back to McIlroy, what you were saying about watching Oppenheimer. Well, hopefully he goes nuclear tomorrow. Hopefully Scheffler blows up. Hopefully, we could go for ages with these.
Yeah, we could. But just recapping on the leaderboard. So Scheffler, round of 67, leads by 4 shots on 14 under, ahead of Lee Hao Tong. And then Matt Fitzpatrick was solo third on 9 under after a 71. McIlroy is part of a big group of 4 players on 8 under par, including Chris Goddard, Harris English and Tyrrell Hatton. So McIlroy will play with Matty Fitz in the penultimate group tomorrow. And I suppose if you're looking at anybody with an outside chance, you are going back as far as the 8 unders and no further. But returning to Scottie, I mean, he opens up with the 6 pars and all of a sudden separates himself from the field. Birdie 16, as you said. And even in that, it looks stress-free, and you don't want to get into scoreboard journalism here, but it was anything but stress-free. I mean, he did miss a lot of birdie putts, but when he was put under pressure and put under the gun, made brilliant pars on 11 and then the par on 14 as well. It looked, McIlroy has just finished at this stage and Scheffler has driven it into the absolute cabbage on 14, and you're thinking, right, McIlroy can win from 4 shots back here. He can catch him. There's a bogey coming here, so he pars that and birdie 16. And yeah, he's just in complete control, Mark. And it's like we thought 1 shot ahead after 2 rounds was inevitable, and this is almost a signed, sealed, and delivered.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote a piece earlier on and put it up on the website. It was kind of, I was writing about the sort of like the atmosphere in the media center. You know, the early in the week, there's like all sorts of hustle and bustle, and everybody's very excited. Everybody's anticipated. I mean, all the Irish contingents. We've got our hopes. You know, our hopes are all strong for the Irish guys. The Scots have got the hopes for the Scots. The every single nationality is kind of upbeat and everything. Fast forward to the Saturday morning, you walk in. Obviously, there's half of the field have gone home already, so their tournament's over. Several of the media have departed already, but there's just this kind of air of inevitability about the place. You kind of already know that the tournament is won. And I mean, that sounds ridiculous to say after 36 holes and somebody's only leading by 1, and they weren't leading until after the 35th hole of the 36 they'd played. But even still, when it was Scottie, and you just kind of knew, like you said, if McIlroy goes out and shoots 65, 66, but you kind of just knew that Scheffler was going to shoot 67 or 68
because conditions were just perfect for scoring. I mean, there was a 65 by Russell Henley and a whole bunch of rounds of 66. I mean, like McIlroy's round is, you know, it's nothing out of the ordinary. It's a great round by him. Brilliant afternoon following him, but you know, I think 67 is probably par for the course today.
Yeah, probably. Maybe not quite that low. It'd be interesting to actually look it up. But yeah, I would say it was definitely playing under par today. It was, and that was again something Rory said, as you would have heard in the press conference, that he said that it's probably as easy as you're going to get it here today. But when it's that easy and you've got somebody like Scottie out in front, he's not going to just throw it away. He's not going to come charging unless the weather gets really bad and he gets a couple of really bad breaks. Then he could be there for the taking, because somebody could manage to put together a 2 or 3 under, and you know, there could be 75, 76s out there. You know, when Scheffler's possible for Scheffler that day, but not with the way it's looking like.
Yeah, and that's why, as we said, like every birdie putt McIlroy has essentially has to go in. Like, you'd know better than I would, having grown up watching Tiger in his pomp. Like, everyone talks about how Scheffler is Tiger-esque and how there is this sense of inevitability, as McIlroy alluded to. But there is a difference between Tiger and Scheffler, just in terms of how they're both winning around them, but Tiger was just far more enjoyable to watch in that sense. Like, no, like everybody wants to see Scheffler beaten, and I don't think that was the way it was when Tiger was dominating.
Yeah, no, not for. You had a certain faction of people, a certain faction of the crowd, or certain factions of the media that would have been anti-Tiger, but the vast majority would have been very much pro-Tiger. And I think the main difference between Tiger and Scottie, well, first of all, Tiger was doing it at a younger age. You know, people can always can kind of like root more for a younger person. You know, your younger generations naturally will gravitate towards them because they're like, they can identify with them better. But there's also the thing of like seeing somebody so young doing something so impressive. You know, it makes for a better story. It makes for better conversation. You know, there's that kind of thing to it. But there's also the thing that Tiger used to do it in style. And I'm not saying that Scottie doesn't do it in style, because it's incredibly stylish what he does. But Tiger did it with a lot more emotion. Like Tiger would celebrate properly when Tiger would hit a good shot, or when Tiger would hold a big putt. Like those.
We've all seen the videos.
Yeah, we've all seen the videos. You see it the odd time with Scheffler, but it's usually just kind of a muted little single fist, kind of closed with maybe one or two little shakes of it, and that's pretty much all you see, unless he misses a putt that he can't believe, and then he's incredulous that this has happened. But I think that's one of the main reasons why we can't. Plus, look, I mean, there's also the thing that Tiger was extremely unique because of his ethnic background, all of that. Like, it was something that we had never seen before. Whereas Scottie, I mean, white guys have been dominating golf for a long, long time.
Yeah. Like, going into tomorrow, there might be a bit of rain, but the wind is to be minimal. So we're going to have another low scoring day, which means, Scottie shoots 68, 69, he more than likely does win this Open Championship. And it would have completed another sensational year. He'd go one major behind Rory McIlroy in this magical chase to, probably get to 6 at this stage. But yeah, there is something to be admired about him, just the way he does, go about his business. It is incredible to watch when you are out there looking at him.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's it's just watching him hit an iron shot, and I've probably watched him play more iron shots from, I've been up maybe more at the green and watched him kind of hitting in towards you, and you just pretty much just look at the flag, because the ball's, you mightn't see the flight of the ball, but you just know it's going to be close to the flag. With a lot of other people, you watch them swing, and you're watching their body language to see, are they going to lean a little bit to the right? So, if they're leaning to the right, you're kind of looking to the left to see, think of the ball coming down that way. But with Scheffler, you just pretty much look straight at the flag, because that's where the ball's going to appear.
More or less, yeah. It was funny. I don't know how'd you come in at this stage, but in the mix zone, when we were waiting for Rory, and Scheffler has, I think, about 6 or 8 feet for that par on 14, and he just drilled it straight into the back of the hole. The gasp that went around the mix zone, it's just, this guy is just virtually unbeatable. It will be interesting to actually see when he wins what his reaction is, because the whole "what's the point" mantra that he was going on about in his pre-tournament press conference, who or what can stop Scheffler? Is it one of those? Maybe he reads the Bible tonight and there's a really rough letter from St. Paul to the Corinthians. I mean, Paul might be at the stage where he's written so many letters to the Corinthians, he's just not arsed, and he's taking the piss with them, and that might throw Scheffler off. Is that what we're hoping for at this stage?
Yeah, God, I'd love. What was the Corinthians' reaction whenever, Jesus, another letter has landed from St. Paul here?
Paul needs to get a life.
Well, he needs to get another pen pal.
St. Anthony's too busy finding things for everyone, so he couldn't do it.
He could. Let's maybe if the rain does come early, then you might think that might start looking around for Noah's Ark or something. Although, no, he got absolutely bucketed on at a couple of stages over the first 2 days, and that didn't take his focus off. So, no, what can stop Scottie tomorrow? I guess maybe the only thing, Scottie's going to be playing behind Rory. Rory's going to be in the penultimate group. Obviously, Rory's not the only one that could catch him, but if Rory gets on an early charge and Scottie's right there behind him, and every time he's putting or he's about to hit a over an approach shot in or something, if there's mad roars up ahead, that he will constantly keep knowing, Rory's coming. I mean, that could potentially cause him to tighten up a little bit, but I mean, that's a big if. So I don't think anything can stop him tomorrow. I have no idea what the odds are on it, but if you're getting any better than 1-6 on Scottie, I'd be surprised. And had nearly remortgaged the house and put it on him. So
Yeah, I agree with you. And like just a final point before we move on to heroes and villains. Like I'd say we both followed Rory today more than we have done all week, and what he did and produced was obviously unbelievable to be, so close to the action inside the ropes. There is such an intimidating factor when he does make a birdie or makes the eagle on 12. You just know this, this massive roar is coming. Like the crowds are 10 deep, and you're funneling along inside the ropes, following the media liaison officer, who, by the way, did a super job today. It has to be said. Like, I don't envy that job at all.
Not an easy job.
It's just not. Like, I don't envy it at all. Like, it's absolute chaos at the best of times. But yeah, like from your point of view, like following Rory, it looks such a thrill, but it's so intimidating at the same time, isn't it?
So you're talking about playing in the grip behind him, or
just following him, like, because when you're inside the ropes, you feel that atmosphere. Like it is quite intimidating as much as it is thrilling.
It is. I mean, he's getting shouts all as soon as he steps onto a tee box. He's getting the cheers. I mean, he was playing with Jordan Smith today, and it was kind of funny because like when they'd be walking off a tee box and like there's just so many cheers. Come on, Rory! Come on, Rory! Come on! And every now and then, just somebody will shout, "Come on, Jordan!" Like just to kind of
just to make him feel better.
Just to make him feel better. But it almost like made it seem it was a token gesture, I'd say, in a lot of cases. But it kind of seemed even more token, really. But yeah, Rory's also getting like the Rory chants. Chants are not something that typically happen on a golf course. Maybe Ryder Cup first tee apart. But yeah, I mean, he's has that aura about him. He's obviously wildly popular wherever he goes. But I mean, when he's playing in Ireland and when he's playing in Northern Ireland in particular, then yeah, I mean, the adulation that he receives, the support that he receives, and yeah, there is definitely an intimidation factor there for sure.
Yeah, 100% agree. Like Jordan Smith's a decent player, very solid DP World Tour player, but I'd imagine what it must be like for those lads to be just surrounded in that cauldron, knowing that no one cares about. Like, it must be so difficult when you're standing over a putt and people are moving away. Like, it's so audible on the golf course as well. Like, that's something I actually don't like, is when people are there just to watch one player and then they move on before their playing partner can finish off. Like, it was the same. Like, I was following Bryson early on Saturday and he's playing with Nathan Kimsey, and every time Kimsey's putting out, people are sprinting away to get to the tee box or get back down the next fairway as well.
Yeah, that was something that Tiger used to experience a lot as well, and Tiger used to use it to his advantage, in that if he had like maybe put it to 3 feet, that he would always, particularly if it was like a final round of a major or something like that, then he would actually put out and finish up, and then everybody would move on, so it would be off putting to his opponent on the day. But yeah, it would have been interesting if McIlroy was in the group with Scottie. What do you think? Do you think McIlroy's better off? Let's say he's still got a six shot deficit regardless, right? But would you think he'd be better off being 6 shots behind Scheffler in the final group alongside him, or is he better off a group ahead of him?
Yeah, like, it would be nice to know, what your opponent's doing, I suppose. Yeah, I think it would be better if he was with Scheffler. I think it would be better as a fan if he was at Scheffler. I think it would be better for TV if he's at Scheffler. Like, we were a couple of shots away from getting that, but you have to give credit to Hao Tong Lee though as well. Like, he's hung around all week and has earned the chance to be in this position. Like, has earned the chance to go and win an Open Championship. But I think the draw with Fitzpatrick is a good one for McIlroy. I think there's two lads who, just go flat to the mat and try and make as many birdies as possible. And there's a good chance they might rub off on each other. That whole European Ryder Cup thing as well.
Yeah, and they played and formed a winning partnership in Rome 2 years ago. I think they're quite good friends with each other. So yeah, it will definitely a good partnership for Rory tomorrow. And what's more, I think Fitzpatrick will be of a similar mindset to Rory in that they'll be going out trying to win the tournament. They're not going to be sitting kind of thinking I'm in second now, maybe I'll try and hang on to second when I get, it's going to be worth an extra 300,000 or 400,000 quid in prize money or something like that. I think both McIlroy and Fitzpatrick, if they're not going to win, it doesn't really matter whether they're 4th, 5th, 8th, that kind of thing. So they'll definitely be coming out all guns blazing.
If McIlroy isn't the one to push Scheffler, who do you think can mount a challenge? Get up the leaderboard there, have a look.
Yeah,
well, you're supposed to be prepared here.
Chris Goddard up was pretty impressive last week in holding Rory off at the Scottish Open. Now he did it was it 3 under in the final round? 3 under is obviously going to get him absolutely nowhere near winning tomorrow, so he's going to have to go low. I think Tyrrell Hatton is definitely capable of it. I mean, Tyrrell, the one thing that Tyrrell hasn't really done in a major is have a good final round. Whenever he's had majors where he's played well in the final round, but he's been too far back. He's had majors where he's got put himself into contention, kind of after 2 rounds, after 3 rounds, and kind of slipped away on the Sunday. So, be interesting to see if he can put it together and have a good charge. Xander Schauffele is there at 7 under. He's obviously we think Rory's too far back at 8 under, so therefore we definitely think Xander's too far back at 7 under. But those are you're talking about guys there that can go out and shoot that 63, and that then asks the question, and that's all you can do really is you can ask Scottie the question. You're going to assume it's kind of like being in the chase. You assume that the chaser's going to charge you down, but every now and then
he gets a question wrong every now and then.
Yeah, you got a couple of pushbacks.
Yeah, well, let's hope Scottie gets more than one pushback tomorrow. So to wrap this up, Mark, heroes and villains. Does anybody come to mind?
Heroes and villains. Well, I mean, yes, I have a hero.
Go.
My hero for today is Lee Westwood.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that's why I brought it up. I was wondering, would you cop on? All right, go on. So relate how you've come into the money today.
Well, myself and Ronan we picked three 2-balls going out there today and just had a fiver each of them. And the only thing that saved Ronan from getting completely dusted 3-0 was Justin Rose holding like a 60-footer on the 18th to get in level with Ludwig Oberg. But when Lee Westwood and Sam Burns, Ronan actually I gave him the pick, and I knew you'd go for Sam Burns anyway. But what neither of us were aware was the Sam Burns was actually 3 shots ahead of Westwood on the day at that point, because they were on the 5th. But Westwood came back in 29. He says his Mrs. What's his Mrs. name again?
Mrs. Westwood.
Mrs. Westwood. Yeah, actually, he did call her Mrs. Westwood. She gave him a half a tuna sandwich and an earful on the 9th. On the 9th hole, and he ended up coming back in 29. He's finished. He's in the top 14, and he won me a fiver. Go on, Lee.
I hope Westwood after he did his presser in the mix zone, goes away thinking, who was that journalist just smiling at me with this happy gaze? Yeah, so you won the fiver there. My hero of the day would have to be someone, if I remembered them, I would be able to name, but I've actually forgotten them now. So you're going to move. I'm going to move on to your villain.
Oh no! Hold on a second.
Actually forgotten who my hero is.
We're not rolling by that easy.
I forget who my hero is.
Why were they your hero?
I don't remember.
And you accused me of not being prepared.
Yeah, well, I have my villain.
Okay, well, give us your villain then. So
it's very niche. It's Corey Connors' caddy.
That is quite niche.
So I was waiting for Chris Selfridge, who was caddying for Matty Schmidt, who was playing with Connors. And Connors has gone in to do media, and I'm waiting outside. And so we have to show our accreditation pretty much everywhere we go. There's a player and caddy entrance around the back of the mix zone to scoring. And Corey Connors' caddy comes around, wearing his caddy bib. So you think that's, identification enough. But the man the absolute job's worth central here. The man goes, "Oh, can I see your accreditation?" And Corey Connors' caddy going, I'm wearing my bib. What more do you want?" Naturally enough, he was actually wearing his lanyard underneath his bib, so he was obviously prepared to show it. So he just flashes it in like this fella's face and goes over to the bin, slams the bin like, I'm a caddy. Pay attention, man. And I just thought, like, get over yourself. You've said it yourself. You're a caddy. Just get over it.
I can't believe that you. I can't believe you called the volunteer a job's worth.
True, that's fair.
He's dealing with one of the arch villains of our time, and get no praise or no thanks for it, and you're calling him a job's worth. I know that's a good villain. I don't think I have a better villain, to be honest.
He's the Gary Player villain of the Open.
Maybe the person working the till in the media center who must have overcharged me for my
for your packet of
for my
crisps.
lunch there today. No, well, I'll double. I'll tell you what, I'll double down on your villain. And you are obviously doubling down on my hero since you don't have one of your own.
I have to.
So Westy is the hero.
Like mid pod, I had a hero, just forgot about it, and then I had one before I brought it up again, and then when you started talking about Westwood, it just completely went from my brain. So I've no hero.
Actually, you know who my villain could be? There was after McIlroy hit that shot on 11 and the other ball popped up. Rory got.
I remembered my hero.
Rory got it and threw it into the bush, and people went diving in after it. I was like, come on, it's not even Rory's ball. It's just a ball that Rory basically touched for 2 seconds. Shame on those people for going tunneling in after it.
I remembered my hero. Right. So I was following Bryson this morning, and in the 5, 6, 7 holes I think that I watched, there was this American guy, and I'm so against the whole mashed potatoes, I've abandoned my child and all that sort of nonsense. But every shot, without fail, you just hear this American voice just roar, "Let's go, Bryson. That's my MVP." And every time it was absolutely hilarious.
Okay, yeah, but that's allowable. There are an alarming number of kids shouting out mashed potatoes and that kind of thing.
America's ruined the sport.
I say, if you're a parent taking your child to the Open and your child is roaring out mashed potatoes,
Should probably just leave them there.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm not against corporate capital punishment.
No. But I have to give a shout out to the Sons of Ulster as well, which is the reason why we're able to do an early pod tonight. The sun is still shining, which has been a rarity this week. So because the 12th of July is gone, they're still celebrating their out marchiness, and there was a march planned this evening, which is why tea times were a bit earlier than they would usually be on a Saturday, the RNA said. So RNA threw 23 grand the way of the Orange Order. The Orange Order said no. So they were setting up all their drums and all their Rangers jerseys and everything else outside the media car park. So we were advised by some of our colleagues, to kind of get out of there by 7:30 or so before it started. Otherwise, it was just chilling in there with Dash in the media centre till 11:30, maybe midnight. So we got out early and there were no problems and everyone looked well in their red and blue marching suits. And so we're happy enough. It worked out for us. So the Orange Order aren't always an inconvenience.
God bless those sons of Ulster.
They'll all have their Ireland jerseys out for the Six Nations in February as well.
I think we better wrap this pod up, Ronan.
Before I say something I'll regret. No, we'll be back tomorrow to recap on what is more than likely going to be a Scottie Scheffler victory. Probably a Scottie Scheffler landslide victory. So we're looking at 4 majors for Scottie. We're looking at a PGA and an Open Championship. And hopefully there's some divine intervention. The one he always relies on maybe can go against him, and he might have an off day and Rory McIlroy can come from the pack and get over the line. So me and Mark will be back.
The iconic words of Lloyd Christmas. So you're telling me there's a chance?
Well, there's always a chance. And Pete's coming back tomorrow as well. He's made a fantastic recovery. So all going well. There'll be 3 of us on the pod tomorrow, and I will have been sacked from hosting duties, which I'm sure everybody will be delighted about. But until then, thanks for listening, and we'll chat to you tomorrow.